Hey everybody, I hope y'all are doing well. Today's case, or I should say cases, that I'm going to be talking about today are updates on not only cold cases, but specifically baby Jane Does. Two of them with very similar circumstances, found in similar ways, and solved in very similar ways. It's actually remarkable how similar these cases are. When I first got the notification that this baby Jane Doe case was solved, I immediately thought it was the Opelika, Alabama baby Jane Doe case that Kaylee Elise covered. I was shocked to see that this was a completely different case in Ware County, Georgia. I'm actually just blown away by it in general. I had found out that 11 months before this case was solved, the Opelika, Alabama case that was covered by Kaylee Elise was solved as well, back in January of 2023. Today I'm going to be going over both of these cases, and we're also going to talk about how they were solved. I can go ahead and tell you the similarities just because it's that shocking. Both of them 5 years old, both of them African American, and the way that their lives were ended were by very similar people. For the Opelika case, it was the biological father and stepmother. For the Georgia case, it was the biological mother and the mom's boyfriend. Now, as for these cases, I do want to very specifically point out it is innocent until proven guilty, but there is a reason why these parents are being charged. I know that there may be some confusion out there, but it's not too difficult. Both of their parents did not report a missing child to the police. That's a huge issue, and that's the main reason why I believe these parents are indeed guilty of committing the crime. Again, innocent until proven guilty. However, I would say you're very complicit in the death of your own child if you are not actively looking for them and doing everything you can to help police solve these cases. None of them reported the child missing, and therefore they deserve life in prison, in my opinion. Just for that alone. They don't even have to be charged with the murder. For child neglect and for failure to report a missing child, I feel that that should be, and that's just my own personal opinion, that should result in life behind bars. That's unbelievable. And that's why I tend to believe that they definitely had something to do with their children's demise. So after years and years of theories for both cases, it turned out to be something completely different for both cases. A lot of people tried to link these babies to other missing reports, when it had turned out for both of these cases there was no missing report, which is why they were so hard to solve. The process that they used to solve the case was DNA, naturally, but they took it a little bit of a different route. Much like the Golden State Killer, they ended up using a genealogist to trace the family trees. Now for the Georgia case, it got really close, but not quite there. If it wasn't for somebody giving a very specific tip with these people saying, hey, the mother had always told us that this baby was given back to her father, and we had never seen her since, just didn't sit well with her. So she gave them the name of the mother, to which they managed to get DNA and piece it together to figure out that, yes, this is a match. However, with the family trees getting them so close, it's no wonder that they were able to finally get somebody to leave a proper tip. Now, as for the person that left the tip, it's not their fault. They didn't really necessarily have any evidence to go forward with reporting to the police. They had a hunch that something was wrong, but they didn't necessarily know, because the mother was lying to them. But once the family tree was released as to how close it was, they're like, this is too much of a coincidence. That has to be her, and then she reported it to the police finally. Or he, actually. I'm not sure if it's female or male. I shouldn't say she. I, for some reason, like to imagine that this was a very close relative to the family, but that might not be the case. It could be a really good family friend. So, I don't really want to speculate because this is an open case, and if somehow these parents, or, well, the biological mother and the boyfriend, ended up getting out of jail, I would not want harm to come to this person. That being said, let's jump into the first case, the baby Jane Doe of Opelika, Alabama. Amore Jovea Wiggins, formerly known as Opelika Jane Doe. She was born January 1st, 2006, and had passed away in 2011. Was formerly unidentified murder victim whose skeletal remains were found in a trailer park in Opelika, Alabama. Her identity was not known until nearly 11 years later in January of 2023. Wiggins' father, Lamar Vickerstaff, was subsequently charged with felony murder and failure to report a missing child, while her stepmother, Ruth Vickerstaff, was charged with the latter. If convicted, Lamar would face up to life imprisonment without the possibility, parole, or the death penalty, and Ruth would face up to 10 years in prison. She was discovered at Brookhaven Trailer Park. Police searched the surrounding area and found more remains, including a pink long-sleeve shirt with heart buttons and ruffles, nearby on a creek bank. It is unknown if that shirt belonged to the victim. Detectives determined the skull belonged to a young African-American girl, around 4 to 7 years of age. Evidence from her bones indicated she was malnourished, and she had also had visible deformity on her left eye. This could be a natural or result of injury or abuse. At the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, created an image of what Jane Doe may have looked like. Detectives looked at school and birth records, but this yielded no results. In 2017, the University of South Florida Institute for Forensic Anthropology and Applied Science performed isotope testing on her bones, which indicated she lived in southeastern United States. Exactly how she was identified, Amore's remains were sent to Otham's laboratory in the Woodlands, Texas. A DNA extract from the remains was used to build a comprehensive genealogical profile, which was uploaded to a genealogical database. The Opelika Police Department retained Barbara Ray Venter, known for helping police investigators identify the Golden State Killer, to produce investigative leads which were returned to the Opelika Police Department. In January of 2023, Othram confirmed that Opelika Jane Doe had been identified as Amore. 50-year-old Lamar Vickerstaff was identified as Amore's father in October of 2022. He was born and raised in Opelika, Alabama, before he enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He also spent time in Norfolk, Virginia, Honolulu, Hawaii, and Jacksonville, Florida. In December of 2022, Opelika detectives traveled to Mayport Naval Station in Jacksonville, where Vickerstaff was stationed at the time, to notify him of his daughter's death. Vickerstaff did not provide any information to authorities regarding his daughter's identity. Vickerstaff's wife, Ruth, to whom he had been married to since May of 2006, told detectives that she did not know who Vickerstaff's daughter was or who was her mother. Ray Venter identified the biological mother to be Sherry Wiggins, who resided in Maryland. In December of 2022, age 37, she confirmed she was the biological mother of Amore. Sherry Wiggins was a native of Norfolk and provided documentation showing that the Vickerstaffs obtained legal and physical custody of her daughter in 2009. At that time, her visitation with Amore was suspended. She also provided documents showing that she had continuously paid child support to Vickerstaff since 2009. So, unfortunately, this, if you want to call him a father, we'll just say the biological father, was still collecting child support up until 2022 when he got busted. That's the most cruel thing I think I've ever heard. Not only had his daughter been dead for 11 years, he was still profiting off of her death. There's absolutely no remorse. And the fact of the matter is, if your child is missing and you're still receiving all the payments and not saying anything about it, I don't really see how he could not be involved in the murder. Yes, I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. That being said, to not even be looking for your child and to still be taking the money that is supposed to go 100% to that child, it's just next level sick. There's no words that can describe how disgusting and how vile that is. Apparently, there is some sort of alleged confession. I don't know how well this is going to hold up, but I'll go ahead and read it to you. On March 22nd, 2023, a preliminary hearing was held for Lamar and Ruth Vickerstaff's cases, where Detective Alfred White revealed documents about Lamar and Ruth Vickerstaff's interview with police. White said that Ruth Vickerstaff had admitted to him that she had been unfaithful during her initial arrest since she did not know what was going on. She stated that while she and Lamar had custody of Amore Wiggins, she became overwhelmed with having to take care of Amore and requested that Lamar take Amore to his family, and stated that was the final time she saw Amore. White stated that during Lamar Vickerstaff's police interview, he had confessed to murdering Amore, but denied inflicting the injuries which had been observed on her remains and through the church surveillance footage. He stated that he had attempted to bring Amore back to life after the murder. He also requested to police that Ruth not be charged in Amore's death. After the hearing, Lamar Vickerstaff was denied bail, while Ruth was granted bail and returned to Jacksonville, where she must wear an ankle monitor while she awaits trial. If convicted, Lamar Vickerstaff faces either life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty, while Ruth Vickerstaff faces up to 10 years in prison. The reason why I don't know if this confession will exactly stick, there's a couple of things going on. First of all, being in the military, there's a possibility he can claim insanity or something along those lines. There's also the possibility that he's covering for his wife. We're not 100% sure yet. This is still an ongoing case. It's an ongoing trial. We will see what happens, and I will happily update you guys with this case specifically. But until then, let's go ahead and move forward with Baby Jane Doe of Millwood, Georgia. I hope you guys don't mind me asking, but if you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this out. I really would appreciate it. That's the best way to support me. Thank you all very, very much for making it this far and for clicking on the video in general. I really do appreciate it. So now to get on with Kenyatta Odom, also known as Kiki. Kenyatta Odom, previously known as Baby Jane Doe, was a young girl whose decomposed body was found December of 1988. She was identified with the assistance from Othram in November of 2023. Her mother and her mother's, at the time, boyfriend have been indicted on multiple charges related to her death, including felony murder. Again, you don't report your child missing, it stands to reason that you are going to probably get charged with the murder. It's just too suspicious. The victim was found in a suitcase filled with cement that was placed inside of a television console. Her cause of death was not discovered due to the state of her remains. Authorities speculate she was not from Georgia, although recent updates state that she may have ties to Albany, Georgia, based on the newspaper associated with the crime scene. Of course, now we know specifically where she's from. The names of the parents were Evelyn Odom, also known as Zemeka Luciana. I'm not really sure about that name, that second name, but that's what they're telling me. I'm not sure how to pronounce that first name either. For Zemeka, I don't know how that came about from Evelyn, but mysteries that I'm not really willing to dive that deep into. 56 years old, and her live-in boyfriend at the time, Alistair Sanders, who's 61, are both from Albany, Georgia. So again, we know where she was from. Their formal charges, specifically, are felony murder, first-degree child cruelty, aggravated battery, concealing the death, and conspiracy to conceal the death. Both of them are still currently in police custody. It is not known whether they have paid legal representation. Investigators are working to find the girl's biological father. And as for how they found the identity, again, it's going to be a bit of a repeat, but I do want to stress how important this new technology is. It's incredible how many missing persons we're finding every single day. It's going to be before too long that there will be no more Jane Does or John Does. This is an incredible technology, and it definitely needs its praise. In 2019, agents used modern DNA tracing techniques to determine that the child was from a family in the Albany area. The breakthrough case came last year after a public tip following news coverage of the story's anniversary and a renewed appeal for information, leading to Kenyatta's positive identification this June. A tipster called. She had heard the story of Baby Jane Doe, and she believes she may know who this little girl may be. Seacrest said at the news conference, she knew that a child had gone missing and that her mother said the child had gone to live with her father. This person never really believed the story. And of course, with the new evidence coming out, showing the family tree and so that they knew that she was from the Albany area, certainly gave this person that final piece of information to fully question what really happened to the girl that she once knew. I'm not sure who this tipster was. I don't know if they were a family member or not. At this point in time, it would be better to not even speculate, for the people that are in custody very well could retaliate against this person if somehow they were found not guilty or if there was not enough evidence to fully convict them. We don't want to put them in any danger. This person did the right thing, ended up being able to fully take the mask off of this unidentified baby Jane Doe, which is wonderful. The GBI and Ware County Sheriff Carl James thanked an anonymous local donor who provided a $5,000 reward for information relating to the Ware County baby Jane Doe case. James said at the news conference that he was one of the 2 detectives who were called to the scene in Millwood 35 years ago. He states, "Upon my arrival, I was really not prepared for what we were about to find. That is the body of a little girl who we now know as Kenyatta Odom, who had been discovered in a wooded area a short distance from the roadway. I would like to remind everywhere that where cold cases are concerned, investigators are always working on these cases, even though the public can't see any progress for months or even years. This goes to show that giving a tip very well may slow down an investigation by making the officers kind of go off the trail to dig into this tip. But if the tip leads nowhere, it leads nowhere, and they go back to square one. It may not be the most useful thing for their time, but it's certainly not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could happen is no tips come in, and there are never any roads to branch off of where they're at, which is the worst possible thing for a cold case. So even if the tip may not sound like it's very good information, guys, never hesitate. If you think you have some information on something, go ahead and give it to the police. It's not going to hurt anything. And there we have it. Both cases getting solved and wrapped up. Both victims getting justice in the end. Though it's incredibly bittersweet, at least it is something. At least they are no longer baby Jane Does. Their real names are out there. Amore and Kiki. I am very saddened by this. It's not a fun case per se to go through. I know I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the fact that they have been figured out. I'm excited in the fact that the cases have been solved. I'm excited that the fact that this was something Kaylee Elise was passionate about, and it has an ending to it. It's something that does fill me with joy to know that it is a closed case. That being said, I wish that these weren't cases at all. I wish these children were alive and well. But I'm sure that's what everybody feels. I think that goes without saying. That being said, I was eager to jump on these cases simply because it was a remnant of Kaylee Elise's past that I am fortunate enough to be able to cover with a conclusion. Those are things that make me happy. The subject matter does not. I just wanted that to be clear. I don't want to come off as being happy that these cases exist. That's really not the case. So I know that probably goes without saying, but I just wanted to be clear on that. I really appreciate you all being here, and thank you all so much. I'm blown away by how fast this channel is growing. I know I only have like 480 subs, but I mean, that's unbelievably fast for only the couple months I've been doing this. You guys have been amazing and very supportive. I couldn't thank you guys enough. Like I said, it may not be a lot, but it's definitely appreciated by me. Like, I don't care that it's a lot or not. I know I got a good audience, and I just really want you guys to understand that I do appreciate you all. Thank you all very much, and I will see you all here in the next video. Later.